Hello again, everybody. I'm Attention Deficit Dave from X1075's Extreme Disorder, and tonight we are on my stomping grounds, right here at the X1075 studios with the one and only Carl Bell from the band Fuel. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I wanted to talk to you about, of course, your new record.
After 4 years, we were just glad to be back because, we lost our lead singer, and I was just glad to be back in, bro. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, finally, all the shit is behind us, and we can do what we want to do now, and it was cool, man. We did it with, Scott Humphrey, and he's got this great studio up in the hills in California there, and it was great. Yeah, like I said, just glad to be back, man. It's been so long. Lost our singer.
So let's start with the whole thing with your drummer. He kind of came out and publicly started talking negatively about your band, and that's got to be an incredibly difficult thing to deal with.
For most of that situation, the Kevin Miller situation was self-inflicted on his part. I mean, we actually, when we first hired him into the band, we almost fired him like literally a month in. Got over that, talked him out of that, talked him through that, and look, just chill out and be cool, and it was great. Finally, it just came to a head, and we gave the guy 3 chances to try to just not rock the boat. That's all we were asking for. You know what I mean? I understand you're going to do things and you have fun and do your thing. Just don't agitate everything all the time. And somehow he's had that personality. That's what he kind of wanted to do.
With Scallions leaving the band, that's got to be the hardest thing that any band ever has to deal with, is losing the lead singer. Was there ever a point in your mind where you kind of went, all right, it's time to punt on Fuel, I want to start another project, I know what I'm doing, I'm a multi-platinum artist? Or from the get-go were you like, all right, big bump in the road, but still just a bump in the road?
I couldn't have done it without Brett, couldn't have done it without Kevin, and I'll admit that totally. And they brought a lot to it. And Brett, of course, being a front man, killer to try to replace that. And Brett had definitely developed into had his own style, had his own thing going. And when he called up and said, hey, I got some issues I want to deal with, and he just bowed out of the situation, yeah, what now? It's not that easy, to get a band and to have everything line up and have a career is so incredibly difficult, because it's not always about having a perfect song, because you got to have the perfect song at the right time, with the right people pushing it, with all this other, you got to have 1,000 things right to make it work. And so for a while there, yeah, we kind of went, oh, what do we do? Let's just fold up and go home. But Jeff and I were still in the band. I wrote all the music, or at least for the most part. And I said, you know what? It's worth it. We wouldn't come too far with this to start from scratch and start all over again. Let's see what we can do and see if we can find another singer. And so that's the route we took, and we'll see how that works out. The jury's still out on that as well.
Do you think that if the situation had been right without American Idol involved, that it would have worked out with Chris Daughtry?
Well, without American Idol involved, I don't think so, because I don't think he's saying the old stuff the way, he had his own style, which is great, and he can sing. He's a great singer. When it came down to it, then he did basically get picked up by American Idol. So it never came down to a full-on, all right, do you want to do this or not? You know what I mean? But we were seriously talking and trying to decide whether or not it would be something, and we didn't know at the time. Obviously now in hindsight, you'd go, yeah, we'd have picked up Chris Daughtry like that. Right. But nobody knew at the time exactly then whether or not the Chris Daughtry was going to be able to do what he has done. And now he's going to maybe possibly one of the biggest records of this year, But at the time, you didn't know that. And we were wondering, is rock going to embrace him? If we bring an American Idol over into our band, which is a rock band, and, we've made our path is usually being rock radio and in that kind of world, are they going to embrace an American Idol guy? Well, now we know they did, and they have, and they would have. So, it could have been great. But he did his own thing, and I think he's probably happier that he did that. And I'm happier that he did that probably as well, because I don't think Fuel would have been the same, and it wouldn't have felt the same for us. And it definitely would have been a different world for him.
What are you guys doing to ensure that the people who have been fans for a really long time are going to be happy with the new singer, with the new project? How is Fuel staying intact with all the changes in the members of the band?
I don't know. It's tough. It's not like it was before. I don't know if maybe we may not stay intact. I don't know how this is going to play out yet. We're still early on with the first singles out already, and now we're moving on to the second single, so who knows?
And we appreciate you sitting down with us tonight here in the Raw Music Room, and really, honestly, best of luck to you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for watching this edition of the Raw Music Room.